Thank you, Mercury retrograde. I love you so much. And that really wasn't Mercury retrograde, that was me. Okay, so I'm going to go back into prayer. And so we just continue to give thanks for the power of the yes within us, the yes to be ourselves, the yes to know ourselves, the yes to discover ourselves, and the yes to create ourselves through the consciousness of the universe that abides within us, from the deepest parts of ourselves to the most mundane. I give thanks. I give thanks for each and every person who is within the sound of my voice. I give each I give thanks for each and every yes that is within each of our hearts and souls. And I trust and know that the truth of who we are is being revealed in every moment, in every way. And I let it be. And I say, and so it is. Ashe. All right. So let me, Cheryl and Christine.
Mm-hmm. Can you hear me?
Right
Yes.
here. And so it is. That was beautiful. Thanks for rejoining us.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Oops, hold on. My slides are going crazy. All right. So what we're going to be covering today is removing the mask, 3 reasons you're not living your truth, and how to start. What we're going to cover in this call today is we're going to talk about who is behind the mask, how we create the masks that we wear. We're going to talk about 3 ways that we create our masks and the needs underneath it that those masks disguise. We're going to talk about the upcoming Sagittarius Gemini moon cycle. And we're going to talk about moon phases. And we're also going to talk about how you can go deeper, and we'll tell you a little bit more about the 13 moons initiation and how you can join for this upcoming cycle.
Thank you. So who is behind your mask? So this is a question that I have lived with probably since I was in my early 30s. And that question is really when I started to realize that the culture was sort of pushing me into taking on identities that didn't really resonate with me. And how that showed up, and I don't want to talk about it too much now, it's just this understanding, this deep sense that um, that I was out of alignment, like that there was something I was portraying, there were expectations that were placed upon me as a woman, as a Black person, as an American. And then there was this other thing within me that didn't really identify with any of that, or identified in different ways than which was being expected. And so I started to realize that there was an aspect behind the me that actually that I had taken on. And that is the question that we want to begin to ask ourselves. Who am I really? Who am I really? And with that, in this work, we will begin to start to look at who we are behind the identities that we have taken on, that we have inherited, that we have bought into, and that we have built. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so the first mask that we're going to talk about is child.
Christine, we can't hear you.
Or even verbal.
Christine,
Yeah.
we didn't hear a thing you said.
Oh no. Can
Just
you hear me
start
now?
over. Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we're going to talk about childhood conditioning. That's really the first mask, and it's the one. It's the first one. What we experience from birth to 7 years lays a foundation in our lives. And some of these things, and I'm sure you know, if you've been alive for any period of time, that sometimes those repeating cycles and things that happen in your life that are really hard to change.
She's gone again.
Yeah, Christine, we can't hear you. We would love to hear you, Christine.
Even,
Christine,
yeah.
so you went away again. So
Oh,
when
okay.
you said childhood cycles and then you were gone.
Okay. So
We would love to hear you, Christine. Just now, we would all love to
We
hear you.
would just love to, yeah.
Hmm.
all
We
right.
are all willing your presence here, your voice.
Thank you. Okay, so these cycles that happen in childhood, from 0 to 7, we're like a sponge. Everything that comes at us, we take in, and we start constructing who we are based on that stimuli. So think about it this way: when a baby is born, you have some really basic needs. When a baby's first born, you have a need for touch and to be held. Literally, babies need to be held or they won't thrive. You have the need for food and nourishment and a sense of safety and security. And we have so many practices in our culture that interfere with those basic needs. So if you come into the world and you are met by parents who can receive that, can meet your needs, you start to unfold, like you have nothing to protect against. Your needs are being met. You develop, you show up, you have a need, you express it, and someone helps you with it. Like as a child, when babies cry, that's their sign of distress. That's how they let us know that they need something. Think of, there's a lot of practices in ignoring babies crying. If you cried as a baby and nobody came, what starts to happen is you become conditioned to no longer cry out, and you numb out, you shut down that impulse. And this happens in a myriad of ways over childhood in general. Think of experiences that you had as a child. Did you ever have an experience where you wanted something and your parents were like, that's not what you want? People tell us what we want, what our needs are. And again, what starts to happen is when you have a genuine need and it is not met by somebody who has the capacity to handle that, you start to shut those needs down. You start to reject yourself at that moment. And that's why the cycles, like what happens during childhood, is so important and lays the foundation of who we become.
Christine.
As children, think about it. Think of how many things happen around eating, going to the bathroom, being shamed around any of those natural desires. There's tons of ways in which that happens. And so this sets the stage for us not recognizing that our needs are okay, not operating just as we would naturally operate. And we have these basic needs. And so the first mask that we put on is this mask of rejecting our
Cheryl, you can just go.
Christine.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You went away, Christine.
Did I?
You went away again.
Oh, okay. Where were we when
you said the first mask that we put on. And
okay.
it was great. You were almost at the end. You said the first
right.
mask that we put on.
Okay. Yeah, this is the first mask that we put on. This, these basic needs, like when we start to get twisted information about whether or not they're necessary, that's where we put that first mask on, where we start to shift ourselves and bend ourselves in ways that are not natural to us, to be accepted, to receive love, whatever it is. Okay,
Awesome. Thank you for that. That was amazing.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, so one of the other masks that we put on is a mask of the things that we do for safety and security. And we put on a mask of roles, things that we play out in relationship to people, places, and situations in our lives. And we play out these very specific roles so that we can feel safe and that we get our needs met in safety and security, physically, mentally, and emotionally, right? We can feel grounded, safe, that all is going to be well. And an example of this, so like Christine said, from 0 to 7, we get conditioned into these perspectives. We learn very specific ways to think, to feel, to behave in order to get the world around us to take care of us, to make us feel safe and make us feel secure. So as my childhood platform set me up to move into the world, learning how to be a survivor, right? I became really good at playing the role of putting on the mask that was necessary to keep me harmonious with people, places, and situations. And I did this for a really long time, and I did it in the mode of operating to survive. And one of the ways that I became aware that I was actually wearing a mask that I got from my childhood conditioning was I took on a corporate job. And I put on a persona that was necessary for me to walk into this job and to get this job and then to become the person that was going to keep the job and survive in the job. In the first year I had that job, I tripled my salary and I was surviving. I was working 60 hours a week. I was just working my butt off to keep the people in my organization happy. I was providing them with what they needed in order to be successful. I was providing them with what they needed in order for me to be successful and to keep this job. But at the same time that I had this job, I had these other things that were happening in my body. And it caused me to start to pursue myself more spiritually, get more deeply connected into who I was as a spiritual being. And as I made the decision to do that, I began to really become aware of this mask that I had on. I was evolving now into a person that was really desiring to thrive and was living a life where I was just surviving. And I had this mask of surviving on, and I was playing these very specific roles in my work environment so that I could make sure that I had enough money, so that I could make sure that I was safe, physically safe, mentally safe, emotionally safe. As time went on, I realized that I had this mask. I didn't know how to take it off, and my body went into a crisis, right? I got walking pneumonia. And I remember the doctor saying to me, you can't go to work. You're going to be out of work for the next 2 to 4 weeks. And it was the most scary thing that happened to me. But it caused me to have to pause and to really get in touch with this mask that I had put on in order to be safe in the world, in order to have my needs met physically, mentally, and emotionally in this job that I had so that I could make a certain amount of money. I knew I needed to leave the job, and I wasn't going to do it on my own. So my body gave me this opportunity to look at this mask that I had, these ways that I was behaving, the things that I was aligning with that were no longer my values, the thought processes, the beliefs, all the things that were going on, I adopted so that I could feel safe and secure. And once my body gave me this message, it took me some more time, but I took off the mask of surviving and I began to put on the mask of thriving. And that's been a process. And when I came to doing the moon work, I learned that there was actually a system in place for me to be able to see these masks clearly as I'm moving through my life so that my body didn't have to get involved. But in this case for me, it was really putting myself in a situation because I felt the pressure to make money, to keep myself safe in the world. And I just gave myself away to all these roles put on these masks for these people, this place, in these situations so that I could keep myself safe. And I think that we do that in many different ways in our lives. We do it in our marriages, we do it in relationship to our children, we do it in relationships to our community. I think Monique's going to talk a little bit more to how we do it within our social relationships. But money is one of those ways that we do that. Yeah.
And it's a real need, like we can't avoid the fact that like we do live in this world where we have material needs. And I think that's what makes it challenging.
Right. Absolutely.
That this is real, it's not like, oh, we can survive without it.
Oh,
right.
I mean, at the time that I was in that position, I was taking care of my family. I bought a home and I moved my family into it. So not only did I have my own needs, but one of the masks and the roles I played was that I took care of other people, specifically in my family. So I had layered, right, the roles.
Absolutely.
And really put the pressure on me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Great. So social conditioning and the need to belong are very real things. And, we have survived as human beings because of our communal experiences. And what I have seen in my own experience, in my own community, and in my own need for belonging is this attempt to align myself with beliefs that really don't suit me, that really aren't good for me. So for instance, in religion, there is a belief that I'm sorry, I'm getting some background noise. If I can mute everyone. Okay. There is a belief that I was raised Christian, and so there was a belief that women should behave a certain way as Christians. That I remember hearing things like the virtuous woman, and how the virtuous woman wakes up early in the morning before her family does, and she does all of these things before her family is awake, and she makes sure that everything is set up for them, and not to say that there isn't value in that, but it's like the virtuous woman, there's not just one way to be a virtuous woman. There are a myriad of ways to be a virtuous woman, as many women as there are, it's a lifestyle that you choose for yourself. It's a way of being that you choose for yourself. And the social conditioning requires agreement often. It requires that we agree to things that might not be in alignment with us. So for instance, I know in my culture, there is an agreement amongst Black people often that white people are racist, regardless of experience, regardless of anything that comes up. There is just an internal agreement that we are not safe in the space with white people. And that is social conditioning. That is an aspect of social conditioning. And so what that does is it creates a way of thinking in the community, and then it creates a way of being out in the world, so that we then behave in ways where we are often defending ourselves or creating the experience of being a victim, which and then in the creating of that as experiences from the internal social conditioning of the need to belong, right? So there's a thing that goes on in the community where if you're a Black person and you interact too much with people who are not Black, then you are called a sellout. That is a part of social conditioning. And we see it in religions where if a person, and I know in Jehovah's Witness, it's like if you don't practice the way they believe in Jehovah's Witness, then you are excommunicated from the faith. That is a part of social conditioning and social engineering. Some of this is necessary, right? We need to have some social conditioning. We need to know that if a light is green, we can go. If a light is red, we should stop. We need to know that, driving drunk is a safety hazard for every person who is driving. That is a part of social conditioning. So there are social conditionings that really do work for the well-being of our belonging, of our community. But then there are things that really do harm, or do an injustice, or don't serve our own individual way of being, that truly will benefit the collective. There is something to being able to be true to yourself, because in the being true to ourselves, in alignment with what is necessary in social conditioning, we get to move ourselves forward, rather than, it's sort of like when we all agree to function in a certain way, we begin to suffocate. Our life force, our energy force begins to diminish, and we won't propagate ourselves as humans in a way that is in alignment with the cycles of the universe, in a way that is in alignment with nature, is what I want to say. So that is how we work with this aspect in social conditioning. And so that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I was gonna, what popped up for me about that too is that, like, I think ideally when it comes to, like, we are social creatures, so it's necessary. And ideally we can be who we are as an individual and fit within a community. Like it's both and.
Yeah.
Yes. All about the inclusion of the unique expression.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So I think that, yes, this is me. Okay, so this month we are going to be, I'm so excited. So the new moon is going to be in Sagittarius this month. And it's so great because Jupiter is in Sag, and Jupiter is only in Sag once every 12 years. And Jupiter is home in Sag. And so we are really opening up into this new experience of truth and living our truths as we shift the ages. We're living through an age shift right now on our planet, in our solar system, moving out of the age of Pisces and into the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is really about us being true to ourselves. It is about us being, there's so many things that it's about. It's not just about that. But one of the aspects is the Aquarius energy is the uniqueness of you. And that is what we are beginning to cultivate inside of ourselves. And so as we have the new moon in Sagittarius, we want to focus our energy on our truth and how we will come to our truth. The Sagittarius new moon opens us up into beginning to nurture our psyche in the question of, who am I really? Who am I? What am I here for? Where am I really? Like, sometimes I hear myself thinking, where is this place? Earth. Where is it? Not Los Angeles, Earth. Where is it in the big scheme of things? And what the fuck am I doing here? And, why is it necessary for me to be here? I realize these are big questions, but that is Sagittarius. It's Jupiterian. It's big. I was talking with Christine this morning. It's magnanimous. I don't even know what that word means, but it feels good, right? It's like so grand. And then the beautiful aspect of the full moon in Gemini is this deep need to know. Gemini is a need to know. It's, what are the things that you need to know on a daily basis? And what are the things that you need to know about yourself? And what are the things that you need to know about the people around you? And, and all of that is a culmination of who we are, and it's continually transforming. So this month we are going to be focusing on those aspects, and then, truth and practice, belief systems, identity, adventure and exploration, and your practice, how you practice living into who you are, because it is a practice. Sagittarius governs religion, and religion means that you have a system around your spirituality. You have a system of practice that informs, that encourages, that grows your spirituality. And that's unique to you. That is unique to you. So you will focus on the one that calls to you most. And um, I I feel like this is an incredible opportunity for us to just get clear and know ourselves in a better way. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm really, this upcoming cycle is really, there's a real expansiveness, and there's a real opportunity to be asking the really deep questions, and really discovering, who am I? You know, like what, and what happens, like when we shift into these cycles, is that that energy just naturally starts occurring. It's like you don't even have to do anything. We were, somebody that Monique and I both know in a group was just posting about these very themes today. Like, it was so timely. And so what happens is, it like, that's just what starts to come into your consciousness. So know that, like, during this cycle, like, those are the questions that are going to be coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So as we move through this process, we go through 8 phases. And we begin to look at whatever focus that you're going to have, right? We begin to look at that focus. We support you with a viewing that allows you to explore the issue, that's the thing that you're looking at from every angle possible, so that you can get to what's behind that mask. You can get to what's behind that persona that's currently there. Go deeper and really connect into the unique essence, right? Who is it? Who are you? Where are you? What's going on for you? So that you can touch that and begin to unfold that, and really clear anything, any smudges you have on your viewing, so that you can refocus yourself. You can clear yourself and refocus yourself, and get deeply in touch with the places that are going to be this unique expression for you to come forward. And every phase of the moon is going to support you to see where you are, clearly see where you want to go, and then put the structures around how is it that you're going to get yourself into that manifested form. And so we're going to support you through moving through those processes and aligning you with making sure that you are going to get everything you need from that point of the cycle. In relating to the 8 phases of the moon, you're going to really empower yourself to experience your transformation in a new way. And each phase of the moon, as it's getting lighter, and then as it brings itself back down into the darkness, it's really an opportunity for you to be doing this work within your own consciousness. And at the end of that phase, you literally have allowed yourself to manifest yourself into a unique expression, something new in the area that you have brought light to by working with the phases of the moon. It's a very awesome tool for transformation, an awesome tool for transformation.
Thank you. You know, I was going to say, for me, this has been really powerful. I've been working with the moon cycles for, I don't know, like 8 years, something like that. And it's, what happens over time is that they become so powerful. It's like you internalize them. You can just feel when things shift into a different energy, and you know exactly what that energy is good for and how to put it into practice. So these are really powerful cycles.
Absolutely. It is, the moon cycles for me have been, because I've carried a lot of trauma, and I think a lot of us might relate to that. I've had a lot of trauma from my life, and they have given me, the moon cycles have given me the ability to be able to focus clearly on what's going on inside of me internally, so that I could change painful patterns. Like, I've had very painful patterns of love relationships, very painful patterns of abuse inside of my relationship with my parents and family structure, addiction, things like that. The moon cycles have helped me look at those behaviors, those belief systems, and do the work to change them in a way that feels graceful, in a way that hasn't, in a way that has just been very empowering. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to be using this cycle to work on removing our mask, and we're going to, all the things that we talked about, um, all the things that we talked about in the last 20 minutes or so, what we will do in this next coming cycle that begins on the 19th, on Tuesday. And like I said, I'm very excited because I feel like we have been in Mercury retrograde in this current cycle that we have been in, and it has been very, very deep. Many of us, I've talked to a lot of you, and I have clients that I speak to on a regular basis, are going through really deep transformation at the deepest parts, because that is Scorpio. And the beautiful thing about Sagittarius is that that arrow that is being shot out. So it's like, if you can imagine yourself coming out of the deepest part of the darkest part of the ocean, and now you're going to be shooting up into the heavens. So we will be guiding you with meditations, with daily guidance. Cheryl and Christine and I will be there with our wisdom, with our love. The practice is internal and external, so we are just really excited to invite you to join us for this one.
And I think that after last cycle being in Scorpio and being so internal, and it was a little quiet, I think that what's going to happen with this next cycle is there's a lot more expansiveness and fiery energy with Sagittarius, and so it's likely to be a much more external experience.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, the Gemini and the Sagittarius. I want to say for this piece right here, when we guide you through the moon phases and provide you with practices and rituals and meditations, and we support you, what we're really supporting you in doing is deeply connecting into your own subconscious, deeply connecting into who you are as an expression in the universe, and then learning to understand that language, that vibration, those frequencies, so that you can know yourself as a multi-dimensional being. I say that because that's really, for me, the essence of what this is. And when we help you to remove your mask, we're literally allowing you to support yourself in taking off a persona that you've put out there to survive, perhaps, or to belong, or a condition that was given to you. And so I'm really excited about this cycle, and mostly that we're going to support you into really seeing the truth of who you are, beyond the masks, beyond the persona that you have, to be manifested in the life that you have as an actual organic being of the universe. It's exciting.
I want to say one more thing about this too. We always give you kind of like the weather forecast, what's happening in the astrology. And when we come up with these themes, that's what we're working with. You are always free, whatever comes.
Oh, Christine, you're so on it. We lost you. She always leaves me waiting.
I know, right? She's coming.
Christine.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Did I go at it?
Okay.
Yes.
You were so on it, honey. Keep going.
You just said we give you suggestions, but then you were, or something like that is what I feel like you were going to say. Okay. So, yeah, the new moon cycle starts on the 19th, and it starts on Tuesday, and you will choose 2 short-term goals, and the goals will be around how you want to be, how you want to know yourself, how you want to show up in your life from this day forward. And what I can say is that as I have been doing this work for about 9 years now, is that I'm a completely different person than I was when I first started. I am not the same person. And my life has just opened up in ways that I didn't know. Like, my mothering is so much more connected. My relationship with my co-parent is fluid, and and there's so much magic in my life. The level of magic that I experience on a daily basis is worth this alone. Like just being able to think
Mhm.
things. And yesterday I was with a friend of mine, and I literally had the thought, I want him to get me a tattoo for Christmas. We're having dinner. It's like, I want him to get me a tattoo. I want him to offer to get me a tattoo for Christmas. And we're just chatting. And I just had the thought as he went to the bathroom, and it went away. And then at the end of dinner, he was looking at my moon tattoo, and he goes, "Do you want more of those? You want more moon tattoo?" And I went, "Yes, I do." And he said, "Okay, I'll get it for you for Christmas. Go find a tattoo artist." So let me tell you, if that's worth everything.
You're a witchy woman.
and
But
and
but this is
Mhm. Go
no, go
ahead.
ahead, sorry.
This is
I
the
was gonna
moon
say this is
work.
perfect yes, this is it, the system, this moon system,
Yeah.
because it's based in a natural cycle. It's based in the universal energies, right?
Hmm.
That's how precise this is.
Yes.
And it gets you in touch with your unique expression. Even though we can give you experiences that we've had, whatever, you take this to decide what your magic is. How does it show up as magic in your life? Tell us. We want to hear those stories when you're in the process.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So this is just kind of covering a little bit of if you sign up for the monthly initiation, this is what you get with the program. We have a Facebook group, and that is where a lot of the interaction takes place. We are in there daily to support you. There are other people there to support you as well. You have daily guidance. We do videos. We'll do a video at the beginning of each moon cycle, and then we have a couple special calls throughout. We have some elemental rituals that
Yeah, so we have elemental rituals. We have access to the three coaches in the group. And we have a moon manifestation library with all sorts of information
share
and
it cycle. And you get an email when the lunar phase changes, and we do a video in the room as well. Are you hearing me okay? Am I still?
we are now.
Okay, sorry. All right, did you miss anything?
I covered it while you were gone.
Perfect. Okay.
Well, we didn't hear about accountability exercises in monthly astrology call. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do. So we keep you accountable in the room. We have little practices that we come in and talk about. We do a video with the change of each phase, kind of, with what the focus is. I do a monthly astrology call where we go really deep into
She does a monthly access call where she goes really deep into the perspectives and influences with the astrology.
All right. So today, if you want to join, the first month will be $25 for the first month. And the code for that is 13 Moon Sagittarius. It's generally $97 a month. So if you join today, you can do it for $25. And then you can participate for the entire month. And then the next month is $97. So I encourage you, and share with your friends, share with anyone that you know that you believe would benefit from this work or benefit from these practices or learning anything. Like, please, I encourage you to share, because this work is really transformational. For those of you who are already here, who've already participated, like, thank you. And you know what we're going to be working on next month. So I'm glad that you were able to participate. But for the new people, if you are not already a part of this community, it's $25 for the first month. And the code to join is 13 Moon Sagittarius. And you can reach out to myself or Christine or Cheryl via Facebook or Instagram, and we can send you the link so you can join. and we'll put the link, actually, we'll put the link in the Facebook group so that you can join and just use 13 Moon.
And the link is right here too. That bit.ly link is actually the link to join. That'll take you to the enrollment page.
Perfect. So that is all. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Christine, for
Thank
creating
you.
these beautiful slides. Thank you, Cheryl, and thank you, everyone, for attending. And I just am so excited for this next cycle. And thank you for those of you who have participated in this last cycle. We've done a really lot of good, hard work this last cycle. So thank you, everyone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a wonderful Saturday.